Boom.
Boom. Hey guys, welcome to Spacecrafts. This is going to talk about shuttles and stations and probes, oh my, all sorts of things for Power Standard
6.
Yep. What do you need on your paper? Bethany, what do you need on your paper?
Date.
A date and title. So title the spacecrafts. If you're in regular science, go grab the note guide. Pause the video real quick. There's a note guide you can cut out and glue down. Challenge Science, you can deal without a note guide for one video. So don't forget, pause the video.
We're going to pause the video.
Well, they are pausing it. We're going on. Okay, if it goes on. Okay, here's the 5 spacecraft we're going to talk about. We'll talk about satellites, multi-stage rockets, the space shuttle, the space station, and probes. Okay, Owen, read the title of the slide, please.
Artificial satellites.
Yep, satellites.
Oh,
So,
satellites. What are they?
So they are a machine that orbits a planet or a star. We have some satellites that go around Earth. We have satellites that go around the sun. We have satellites that go around Jupiter. We have satellites that go around the moon. We have satellites that go all around different places. Okay, and they have...
Pods?
Yeah, they come in different shapes and sizes. It depends on their job, what shape or size they come in. But they all have to have a couple things. They all need an antenna. The antenna communicates with Earth. They also all have to have a power source. And then finally, their function. Some of them will be used to collect. I know. I don't want them to. They don't like long videos, so we got to talk fast. Some of them collect data. So some of them will be like weather satellites, or they'll watch land and they'll see if the land is eroding, or if like the glaciers are melting, or if the deserts, if the drought is getting worse. They'll look for threats to Earth too. Same thing with those like natural habit things, but they might look at other kind of threats. Some of them are used for communication, for your telephone, your radio, your TV. If you have Dish Network, you actually connect it to the satellite. Whenever you use your GPS on your phone or in your car, that connects to a satellite floating above the Earth. They also, of course, could be used for spying. So maybe if you want to know what's going on in a different country, maybe those Canadians, we need to know what they're up to, what is up with their bacon. Maybe we'll take a satellite and spy on those Canadians. Okay, next one, buddy.
Bacon.
Yep, that button. Okay, here's some pictures. There's different ones here. You got communication satellites, so they're going to look a little different because they're meant to just collect data and spit it back out. Here's like a GPS satellite. That one needs to be able to monitor like hundreds and thousands of different cars all at once, or different phones and devices all at once. Where you got remote sensing, and then you got what do you think this one's used for? Weather. And so Dave Murray at Channel 5, whatever channel he's on, he might be connected to a weather satellite. Yeah, say something.
The GPS can be connected to some games.
Oh yeah, there's games with GPS. And then finally, there's some of the scientific research. So like SOHO is actually a satellite that goes off to the sun and collects data about the sun. Okay, so the next thing, Bethany, what's it say up here?
Multi-stage rockets.
Okay, multi-stage rockets. These guys are rockets that use 2 or more stages. I wish they called it multi-section rocket, because really a stage is a section. And they use 2 or more stages, each containing its own engine and fuel. And they have different parts. They have the stages themselves, they have their engines, and payload. Payload sounds funny. It doesn't mean like I'm getting a check in the mail with money. No. Payload means what they're shipping. They could be shipping people or probes or instruments into outer space. So payload is like the stuff. After I read the function, no one's going to say something in a second.
Function.
So their function, you read the next slide, silly. Their function is to launch items into space. So it could be probes or satellites or maybe men, and they're launching those items in space. And then they also could be used for war on Earth. That's not the pleasant idea. Here's a picture. Oh, one more. Okay, so here's a real-life picture of a multi-stage rocket. So this is one about to be launched. You can see a couple stages here. Here's a stage here, and inside of that is a fuel tank. And once that fuel is empty, that part will drop off. This is thought of, like, this whole invention, this multi-stage rocket was actually the idea of a Soviet Union guy. His name was Konstantin Tuzanovsky.
Konstantin from Muppets Most Wanted.
Oh yeah, Muppets Most Wanted. So Konstantin Tuzanovsky thought of this in the early 1900s, and then within his lifetime there were some built. So it's a pretty great idea. So once the fuel is empty here, this section drops, and you see the next black section here, this engine, this stage will go. And then once that fuel's empty, that will drop, and you see a line about right there. And then this stage will go. Once that's empty, then that drops around that black line, and then that section will go. And that's where the payload is. It takes all this fuel, all this like rocket fuel, to launch this itty bitty section up here. Isn't that crazy? Hey Owen, show them the next picture. Here's a cartoon. Here's what an old rocket would do. You have fuel, and once that fuel's gone, you're still carrying the fuel tank with you, even though it's like empty. What's the point? It's like wasting energy, right? So Konstantin Tuzanovsky decided we should build rockets where they can drop off. So this was empty, that sucker drops off. What's happened, Owen, when this sucker is empty?
That part jump off, but
Yep.
the rocket's still going because there's another fuel like that.
Right.
And I know that one's really big, but it can get gone. Like, see that one? It's all hard to see because
Okay.
it'll drop back to off now.
Where do you guys think these things are going to drop? Do they going to drop them on land and kill people?
No, they can't walk.
Where are they going to drop them to when they drop back to Earth?
The ocean.
Yep, they're going to drop them on the ocean, in the ocean, so it might like, hit a whale. But the rocket scientists are so smart, they're going to launch near an ocean, and these sections are going to drop in this ocean, and then NASA will go back and get them and reuse them.
Well, but you know that part doesn't say fuel, but it has fuel because it's black.
Yeah, you want to hit the button, buddy? Okay, you get to read this title now. Oops, one more. Okay, here's a video. Video within a video.
14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. We have ignition sequence start. The engines are on. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
So you'll see all that thrust pushing down? So it's pushing down against the earth, the fire is, and that's causing it to go up. Have you ever blown up a balloon and let go of it? The air pushes out one way and the balloon goes the opposite direction.
Yeah, it
Sideways
goes
shaking
down.
was
Then
unbelievable.
it goes to the
The vibration was so intense you couldn't see the instrument panel.
So let's watch this. So
I
that's the
thought we
fire.
had it during launch.
That was an astronaut talking. Sorry, I talked over him.
I was hoping that Frank Borman didn't have his hand on the abort controller.
Abort control means
He
kills
said
the
he took his
mission.
hand off, but he'd rather die than make a false abort.
1 minute after liftoff, the Saturn V is already supersonic.
Well, the Saturn V is still the most powerful machine that man has ever devised. 20 tons of fuel a second, 7.5 million pounds of thrust. I think we were all surprised at how strong that thing was. It had 2 or 3 iffy missions before ours, but it was a piece of cake. It just worked beautifully. Unbelievable.
5 engines in the first stage blast the Saturn V to 7 times the speed of sound.
The second
watch this,
stage
guys.
cut in.
Second stage. See? Right there.
At 40 miles high,
That's the first stage
it still
dropping.
When
accelerates.
you staged, you were thrown forward in the belts and then
There
backward
goes
in the
another
belts.
stage dropping.
And I thought I was being catapulted through the instrument panel.
All sources show the stage is burning perfectly.
The third stage fires twice. First, the boost into orbit. The second burn takes the crew of Apollo 8 where no men have ever been. Deep
So deep into like space, you're saying. So you can see as it was, like it takes a tremendous amount of thrust and force to push down against the earth. That fire pushes down, and that there's a reaction force that pushes it up then. And then as the stage drops, you could hear that one older gentleman saying that it just catapulted them through, and it felt like they're going to like go through the control panel as they lost that extra weight.
Where's it? I got it.
Like where all the buttons are. Okay, I don't remember who read the. I think it's your turn to read this one.
Yeah. Space
Shuttle.
What are they?
Okay, so they're a reusable spacecraft. A space shuttle is what we use to go into orbit time and time after again. So, next section.
Parts.
So they have the main craft, they have rocket boosters, and they have an external tank that will also drop. And finally,
Function.
which means job. Okay, there are three main functions. So they carry people into orbit. Excuse me. They launch and recover and repair satellites, or carry people to repair them. And then finally, it can connect to the space station, which we'll get to in a minute. Okay, next. Here's a picture of a space. This is a space station. This is a shuttle. Sorry. So right here, the white part here that looks like an airplane, that is the shuttle, and that is reusable. And we reused our shuttles for like 30 plus years. We kept on using them over and over and over again. President Obama, in the beginning of his presidency, actually retired the space shuttles, and it kind of was like, oh, why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? He doesn't care about outer space. But it's more like they're launching a 30-year-old vehicle in outer space. Is that the safest thing? How many people go around driving a car from the 1980s? It doesn't usually happen. People could have a car from the 80s, but usually people upgrade. And that's where we're kind of going towards now, is upgrading it.
And
so we have different pieces here. This says
an
external
tank.
So that is where all that rocket fuel is going to go. That's going to drop off.
That's a lot.
That is a lot of fuel because it takes a lot of fuel to launch things in outer space. And then you got two things on the side. And those say solid rocket boosters. And that also will get you the extra boost to push it up. And then finally you got the space shuttle itself. You've had different ones.
And another solid rocket booster.
Yeah. Okay. So finally,
stations.
Space stations.
What are they?
Okay, space stations. This is just like it says, like a station is a place we're going to be for a while. So it's very large. And when I say large, I mean very large, like a football field. And it's a satellite, which means it goes around a thing, which is the Earth. And we use it for long-term, for manned operations in space. When I say manned operations, I mean people are living in space.
Parts.
Okay, so they have different parts. There's called modules, which means like sections. There's labs. There's solar panels. There's living quarters, like little areas for people to live. And there's like external robotic arms. There's much, much more.
Function.
Their job.
Function.
Okay, here's 3 jobs of the space station. They will study long-term effects of space flight. So people live up there for months at a time. Months. Right now, as you're watching this video, there's people up in outer space in the space station right now. They will do experiments in there, and they'll perform spacewalks for various reasons. Maybe they're doing experiments with their spacewalks, or maybe they're actually fixing part of the space station. Here's a picture of the space station, and you can see different modules. So look at how it's connected together. It kind of makes me think of Legos.
It makes me think of a satellite.
Oh, it is a satellite because it's going around the Earth. You can see the Earth below it with the clouds and stuff. But what I was saying about the Legos, it makes me think of Legos because if Owen makes a thing of Legos over here, like his little invention, and Bethany makes a set of Legos over there, they can connect those two things together and make one bigger piece. And if Owen goes back and makes a second one for him, he can connect it with the other two. There's 3 pieces connected together. Because what happened is...
Like, I'll build that piece.
Yeah.
And I'll build that piece. But Bethany had to build that piece, so it'll be like that.
Right.
And Mom will build that piece.
What happened in real life is that the Russians were building pieces, and this is when we became friends with them again after the Cold War. They built a piece. I know, right? And then we started building pieces, and then we even involved some other countries like the Japanese and the European space agencies. And now we're building modules, which are sections all together. So we built this all together. It's more than one country, so we call it the International Space Station.
pieces.
So here's another one. This is the best picture I could find because this is all artistic drawings. There's no person out there taking pictures of outer space, really. So you can see in real life, space shuttles really do connect with the space station. And this is how they deliver people up there. Like every 6 or so months, new people go up. People are living in the space station and they need to get new supplies, so they'll send more stuff up. So in a later activity, I'm going to have you watch a video of a lady in outer space. She'll show you how they go potty. She'll show you where they live. Yeah, I know. It's cool. And they'll show you. Well, astronauts got to go potty too. They'll show you their bed, and she'll show you some of the food. And there's some other activities you'll do where you can see more about the space station. It's actually kind of interesting.
Can you show us it?
We'll show it later. So here's a guy on a spacewalk. You can see the external robotic arm. So there's a person inside controlling this arm. And you can see the astronaut. He needs to wear that heavy-duty suit because there's radiation from the sun. It's dangerous. He'll have like a walkie-talkie so the radio waves can communicate with people back. And he'll have his tools that he needs. But this keeps him from floating away because if he's ever let go, he's in deep trouble. Okay, the last one. I think it's the last one.
Yeah, it's mine. It's mine. You said probes is the last.
Yeah. Okay, what does it say?
You just said it.
Oh, well. You gonna say it again? Okay, I'll say it.
You just said it. Know. So don't say it.
So probes. These things travel through space to collect information. They do not stay around Earth. They do not stay around the sun. They just go. Well, they do go around the sun. They don't stay near the Earth itself or the moon. They go out. And they kind of sound interesting, like a probe. If you're probing for information, you're asking for information. Maybe you're probing your parents for what you got for your birthday or something. That means you're digging and asking questions. So these things dig into space. Here are the parts. They have to have something to collect data. And that data is different depending on their job. They have to have solar panels because there's no gas stations in outer space. There's no place to plug these suckers in on Jupiter. And finally, they need a communication system to send information back to Earth. So they're going to use radio waves to talk to the Earth. Their function? They study planets.
Stars.
And
galaxies.
Cool, right? So this really tells us really cool stuff. They do perform experiments. So some of them that are going to certain locations might have tools to analyze the soil they're on or to look for water. That's a big one for the Mars rovers. And finally, they'll communicate findings to Earthlings, which are us. So here's a picture. This is one of my favorite ones. This is Horizon, and it has been launched 2007. This is like right before Bethany was born. February 28th, 2007, it was launched, or it's actually towards the Jupiter system. And then it continued going around April of this year, 2015. Again, it was launched in 2007, so 7 years ago it was launched. In 2015, or 8 years ago, 2015 is going to cruise past some of the planets. In July 14th in 2015, it should be at Pluto in Charon. Charon is one of Pluto's moons. So they launched this 8 years ago. What grade were you in 8 years ago? Kindergarten or pre-K? I don't even know. So like
preschool.
8 years ago, this thing was launched. These guys weren't even born. And finally, it's going to Pluto. That tells you how far away Pluto is, because this sucker is driving at a few thousand miles an hour. How fast can you go? Can you go a few miles an hour?
Yeah, but I know it looks like a really short arrow. But
I don't know.
You have to go really slow.
Well, it's going quickly. It's just 5,000 miles an hour is really fast. Space is so big. Okay.
That you never return home.
That's so true. I'm glad Owen said that. Horizons, this satellite is never going to return home. They launched it in 2007 knowing they'll never see it again. But they just turned its instruments back on, and it's sending data back to Earth, and it's collecting information. And I can't wait until it drives by Pluto and shows us pictures, because we've never had up-close pictures of Pluto because we've never been this far. This is pretty amazing. Go ahead and press the button now. Here's another one.
So like in 2000, and there's the wheel side, I know.
well,
we make a sun like a circle, then little lines.
Yeah, that's not real. This is what an artistic drawing of the sun's going to look like. And they're sending in 2018, they're going to send a Solar Probe Plus. Currently, we have a different one called SOHO that's at the sun. Here is what's literally at Mars right this second. So in 2000,
These are white. They are white now.
Yeah. A long time ago, we put Sojourner in 1997 when you guys weren't even born yet. And then in 2014, we spent 2, Spirit and Opportunity. One of those got stuck in a hole, but they didn't expect it to last that long. They had a really short lifespan, but they really surpassed. One was stuck for a few years.
That was the last year.
2014. No, this is 2004, not 14.
Oh.
So it was like 10 years ago. One of them, then they were able to control. In 2012, they launched Curiosity, which is much larger. And it's huge. It's bigger than the size of a car. It's on Mars right now collecting data, and sometimes you'll hear that they found evidence of water on Mars. Curiosity is the one that figured that out. So this is pretty amazing that they sent it to Mars, and it finds information. It takes little data, it runs samples on the soil, and then it sends that information back to Earth so we can learn more about Mars.
It's that one a few years ago.
It's like little models of them. Like, here's a little one. It's getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, we got smarter and smarter as we built more stuff. Okay, so that is the end of your notes. If you want to research more, you can feel free to go to NASA's website and look up more information. And you will be going to learn more with the next few projects you have.
And the video isn't done because it's little wheels. One's a S, one's a SD, one's a C. The C is the biggest, SD is medium, S is the
yeah, those are those size little wheels. Okay, if you have any questions, come see me or Mrs. Burkhart. We'll talk to you later, Gators.
Bye. Bye.